Tuesday, April 1st, and no, that was not an April Fool's joke. I'd like to call it the Tuesday, April 1st meeting of the Monmouth City Council. And Phyllis, a roll call, please.
Councilor Carey?
Here.
Councilor Coons? Here. Councilor Meyer?
Here.
Councilor Milligan?
Here.
Councilor Schaefer?
Here.
Councilor Silvernagle?
Here.
Mayor Oberst?
Yes. All rise for the flag salute, please. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Consent calendar tonight consists of minutes from the council meeting of March 18th and the work session from that same night. If I could have a motion to approve.
You have a copy at your place with the correction.
Right. So could I have a motion to approve as corrected?
As amended or corrected, I move so.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We'll adopt those two sets of minutes. Reports tonight for the mayor's report, very short. This 2 weeks included spring break, which meant there was a little bit less going on. I did attend as the chair the League of Oregon Cities Transportation Policy Committee. This is a body at LOC that there's policy groups for different areas that meet leading up to the big legislative session to kind of have an ear to the ground and see what's happening and to possibly propose legislation in different areas or take positions, policy positions in defensive posture when that's appropriate. And one of the things I learned there is that LOC surveyed its member cities and determined that Oregon cities right now are running about $300 million short each year in funds to maintain their streets. Portland is responsible for about 125,000 of that, but I mean 125 million. Thank you. They don't have very many streets out there.
Let's loan them the money.
They don't have very many streets out there now. Thank you, Ben. But the rest of the cities in the state pool together to be responsible for about $175 million a year shortfall. And this is not just a story at the local level. Counties are seeing the same issue. The state is seeing the same issue. And the federal government is seeing the same issue. And in fact, the Federal Highway Trust Fund is expected to run out of money in August. Completely gone unless Congress acts in that time frame, which, given that this is election year, I would say the probability is somewhere between slim and none. And what that might mean is a cancellation or postponement of various sizes, large and small, of transportation projects. So we'll have to see how all that plays out. The manager has informed us that our street fund is in not the healthiest of conditions, so we'll be looking at that going forward too. The other item I have is council as well, where we got together on Saturday for our annual goal setting session and worked through some of the issues facing the city and set some goals for ourselves, and we will have the opportunity to adopt those goals at a future meeting, formally adopt them, and then Scott will have 2 years to get it all done. And finally, we also saw an application electronically yesterday, I believe, Terry Gregory applying for the Arts and Culture Commission. And I would appreciate a motion to approve that application.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And with that, Terry puts on yet another hat in our community. When you have somebody with her energy, it's nice that she likes to put some of that our direction.
What's nice, she's on the board of the Smith Fine Arts series as well, so that's a really good cross connection to that group.
Yep. So, and that's 2 appointments to that commission recently, so we're hopefully filling it up to the point where we'll be starting to get productive again. Reports from council reps to boards and commissions. Councilor Silvernagle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Monmouth Senior Center Advisory Board met on March 25th. Lots of stuff was discussed. Let me hit about 4 highlights. So community breakfast is this coming Saturday, 8:30 to 10:30. Musical hair, they're gonna, on April 21st, there's a group of them that'll be going over to the Elsinore to take that in that evening, or I think it's evening if I remember right. They got Victorian tea scheduled for noon. Well, actually, there's two of them. There's noon and 2:30 p.m. on April 30th. And they've got trash or treasures on April 12th. So those are 4 activities that are going on this month. It always surprises me how many travel items they've got on the agenda. I'll just hit a couple of them, but I've got a whole page of them here that they had talked about at the meetings. Everything from going up to Puget Sound in July, whale watching, hitting the museums. They've got a trip to Redmond scheduled in the fall, early fall, that everything from the Forest Service to the Air Center to hot shot fire crews to, you know, various gardens and parks and, you know, actually meeting with smoke jumpers, reindeer farm, painted hills. I mean, you can go, I mean, it's just unbelievable the kinds of things that they can do as a group, and assuming they can get enough to go to make it work. They've got all those kinds of things. Tillamook State Forest, Alpenrose Dairy. They've got a Madras trip separate from the other one. Got a trip to Findlay Wildlife Refuge. It's just quite an active group. So it's great to see all that going on at the Senior Center. That concludes my report.
Was it all in April?
Thank you very
No,
much.
those last ones are all later in the summer.
Councilor Perry.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the Arts and Culture Commission met on Thursday, March 20th, and did not reach quorum, as has been sort of the issue. However, there was progress made, and both Scott and some of the active members of the committee are continuing to work towards a brochure that will look something like this. And while it's going to be somewhat different, but conceptually it'll be something that could be a leave behind, pass out for people that come through our community. We want to link it to a web, you know, a website, preferably coming off the city website, so that can be amended currently and it can stay sort of contemporary in what happens. So the hope is that something like this will drive people to the website. There is a music event, and one of the things going to be used at the Senior Center, I believe it's May 3rd of this year, the Student Loan String Band, which is uniquely named bluegrass music is the genre, and that's a 7 p.m. deal. We've got a number of ideas that we're working. We just need to get you know, to a quorum, and with Terry, the addition of Terry, I think that will be helpful. And we hope to you know, make this a more visible and begin to get the word out about all that's going on in our community. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Councilor Schaefer, did you get the planning?
I did not. I don't know if you want to announce, but I'll be doing the Parks and Rec.
Oh, do you have Parks and Rec?
Yes, Steve and I have switched.
Okay. So, do you have that tonight, or?
That'll be next
time?
Yep, next Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Councilor Meyer.
Okay, thank you. Talking about MyNet, and we had a meeting on the 27th of March, so last Thursday in the morning. We didn't have a quorum, we were missing a few people, but the two things that we discussed was the marketing campaign and the new marketing group we have hired. So you'll start to see we're taking advantage of certainly the superhero stuff that's coming out. That seems to be a theme that this group likes, and we'll be working with that. There also, which took up more of the time, was our cable boxes. We're looking at a new provider, Entone, and they are light years ahead of the current boxes that we offer. They have one of those where we're similar with our competitors, where we'll have 4 tuners, so you can pause TV, go in another room, and you don't have to have a big box in every room. So I think it will close that gap between us and some of the satellite and providers in the area. So we're currently beta testing that, and we haven't had an announce of when we're gonna see rollout. But certainly, that's coming soon, and we'll have more information at future board meetings, I believe. We didn't have a time to get through the financial report. We actually have another meeting scheduled, lots of fun for me, on the 3rd of April, I believe around, I think it's 4:30 or 5, at the Minot office, and we'll be doing a financial report as well as looking at capital. This was the first month since October that we did have net income below 100,000, so we're at 93. We had some revenues that are a little bit squishy, that are not customer revenues, but revenues that come in kind of at different times, and so those came in a little bit lower than normal. So we did that. But when we look year over year, we're still about double, I believe, our net that we were making a year ago when you compare year over year. So still some tremendous strides, more to do, and that's my report.
Thank you very much.
And can I ask, we got an email that from Minot that there was some potential disruption in service.
I just got an email just before I left town, and the contract has been signed with Viacom.
So I just wanted to.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, it's all good. Yeah, they use their last minute tactics, and we haven't lost Nickelodeon or
NTV.
For those who haven't gotten this,
VH1, right.
Viacom, which does have a few fairly popular stations, was trying to raise its rates by something like 20 times the rate of inflation. They were going for a 78% rate increase, despite the fact that across the country viewership of many of their channels is actually down. So, and they threatened to cut off service on the 31st, and overnight last night there were a series of extensions hour by hour until they finally got something signed. Now, I don't know the terms of the new agreement, but there was a threat that at midnight those channels that Viacom owns were gonna go dark last night. They did not, and they will not at this point.
And not just for Minot.
No, this would be for a large universe of independent cable operations.
Right, we weren't negotiating directly with those providers, we were part of a consortium.
And interestingly, Viacom offered a much smaller increase to some of their fellow giant corporations, so they seem to want to take it out on the small independents. Go figure. So, that's the way that goes. Okay, thanks, Ben. Anything else?
Nope.
Community announcements. Manager?
Yep, thank you.
Report.
Just a few things. Budget, a lot of work on budget. We're a couple of weeks out from getting it kind of bundled together, but a lot of work on that, making progress. You probably heard they're kind of tracking the sheriff, and I want to call it a saga at this point. They just keep losing people, and that translates into lowering hours. So now they're going to be down to about 10 hours a day on service, and it's got all the people trying to figure out how to adapt, because let alone the people are making calls that are not getting somebody. So if it's not a critical in those off hours, you're not going to get anybody to come out. A lot of minor calls just get kind of routed to the next day when somebody can get to it. But at this point, even fire agencies are having trouble, because a lot of times they have to have a scene stabilized before they can enter safely. And so they're in a situation that isn't what you want to do as a firefighter EMT, is see somebody needs help and you can't go in. And they're going to be faced with that probably pretty frequently as it goes out. So agencies are talking to each other, but there's no grand solution. Mostly you talk and you just kind of hang your head down with them.
And so we'll probably be drawing our folks out more, or how does that?
A little
work?
bit, that's gonna happen too, that's gonna be a little ricochet, and so, yeah, there could be times if it is an absolute critical call, and they have somebody en route, if we can go out potentially to hook up with that person or try to stabilize. But we've got the same situations, if it's something really bad, we don't send one person out to respond, but yeah, there will be more time, I think, that the cities are gonna get drawn out into the counting on calls.
Any other ramifications that you see other than that?
That's the kind of sheriff's side. The other side that I think will affect us more directly, but people aren't gonna see it maybe as directly, is the district attorney's office. As they're limited, they can't process cases, so at a certain point, things that we used to arrest someone, charge them, run them to the process, a lot of those cases are gonna be dropped. And so I think what people have been used to in Polk County is, you catch somebody, they're convicted, they get sentenced. And we're gonna have a lot more of those people probably gonna be That's not gonna happen, so there's not gonna be as much justice served.
Is there also an effect to the jail as well? Are we gonna be
No, the jail's
limiting?
fine, that's
Okay.
actually a mandated service, he's put all his resources into the jail, has to keep that going.
The jail did manage to rent out a few beds to other counties that are overcrowded. So,
That's a possibility, would help.
a little bit of revenue there.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's that, and then, last one, our police station, different police issue, but, we actually have the contractor hired, so that'll be that CMGC process, we got that person on board. Their next step is to take the architect estimates, they massage it and try to get everything worked out and see if we're gonna be on target or not.
Okay. And we expect to start swinging hammers in.
July or so.
Okay, very good. Okay, anything else? Citizen comments? Seeing none, I'll turn the page over to our one-item business agenda, which is adopting a resolution to amend the enterprise zone and turn it into an e-commerce enterprise zone.
So what this is the state allows what they call enterprise zones around the state. We have a combined one, it's Monmouth, Independence, and Dallas. And what that is, it's an industrial recruitment tool. So if you bring in somebody that has jobs based on producing something, so it's not retail, something that's produced, then they can actually get a waiver on their taxes for a certain number of years, depending on what arrangement is made. And at a different level, it's been added the last couple of years, what they call e-commerce. And that's supporting electronic commerce. That would be like a back office, a call center, financial processing of information. And they initially had,
Server farms.
it's actually more employment-based.
Okay.
Yes, it's gotta be a commerce, there's gotta be something, a transaction involved. So in this case, they originally had 10 zones, and those were all taken up really quickly. They decided to open up another 15. And so we're trying to get our name in the hopper. It's not a guarantee. They still have to prove it. We like to get in there. What it does on top of the property tax waiver is then the equipment that they put into it, they get actually a 25% tax rebate from the state. So that's kind of nice for them. So in this case, somebody could walk in, they could actually get property tax reductions for a few years, and then also right out of the gate, they get a 25% reduction on their capital expense.
Sounds like a lovely opportunity for Monmouth and Independence to leverage a certain high-speed internet company.
Maybe. So, with that, what we need to do is actually pass a resolution saying that we support the application for the designation, so it would be Monmouth, Independence, Dallas. And then, so if you pass a resolution, they'll batch that with the other two cities, and then we'll get all this into the state and see where it goes.
Okay. And this would be resolution number 1772.
We get to discuss this, or we just,
Well, if you have things to.
I just had one question. If we do go to the e-commerce enterprise zone, does that mean that we will be continuing the same incentives as we were using the other?
Yeah, this is a
Just
new layer.
So it's just
Add it
adding
on.
another,
Add it on.
tack it on?
Yep.
Anything else? Sorry, Jesse, I just.
Yeah. And well, she said server farms, I know it needs to be commerce. When I was reading through it, it said it just needs to increase one employee every month. Would that be just selling something, not retail? Well, 25% can't be
There's a couple.
retail.
One is actually bringing in a new company, the one where you have to increase some, if you have an existing business that adds
Oh, okay.
employer, then they have to show if
Okay.
they're gonna add employees.
Okay, so service farm wouldn't be considered commerce, no? Okay.
They prefer drier areas as well as we've seen.
Seems like they like the wet and keep the dust down.
Catch it.
Yes, John?
Are these, actually in both cases, both the enterprise zone and the e-commerce zones, are the benefits provided to the, to the incoming business prescriptive, or are those negotiated by city, with the company?
Yeah, the main item is actually described, you can get a different number of years on the enterprise zone, so like a basic would be 3 years, and that's just a given. But if you wanna go to like 5 or even further out, then that's a negotiated item. At that point, you can have discussions about in lieu of arrangements or other terms.
Longevity.
It's more of an open discussion at that point.
Negotiation.
Yeah, okay.
So there's a minimum.
That's right, it's both prescriptive and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's got elements of both.
As it should be.
I'm sorry, I got one more question. Has it been signed yet, or is it still in lieu of being signed?
Oh, where we are is we need to have all 3 cities
No,
approve it.
by the
The
governor.
gov signed it.
Oh, yes,
He's
yes,
done, he
it's
signed it.
it's available, yeah,
Okay.
now it's just getting into the state and seeing how we shake out.
Excellent.
Okay. Any other questions? So again, 1772, resolution 1772.
I move that the council adopt resolution 1772 supporting the request that the Dallas Independence Monmouth Enterprise Zone be designated for electronic commerce.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Phyllis, would you be so kind as to call the roll?
Counselor Coons?
Aye.
Counselor Milligan?
Aye.
Counselor Schaefer?
Aye.
Counselor Meyer?
Aye.
Counselor Carey?
Aye.
Counselor Silvernagle?
Aye.
And that's a unanimous vote in favor of us attempting to become an e-commerce zone. I like it. Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of our regular meeting agenda. Are there any council comments tonight? I would like to thank everybody for good work on Saturday and setting our goals for the coming couple of years, and lots of thoughtful discussion, and appreciate everybody coming and putting in a hard day's work that day. We get our usual big paycheck, a couple slices of pizza for lunch, and that's it. But it was good. Yeah.
Just so you know, in case, on the LUBA appeal that we prevailed on, just so you know, the date for an appeal of that to the Court of Appeals will be April 10th. That's the last date that the opponents would have to file for LUBA, to appeal the LUBA decision to the Court of Appeals. So, a week and a half.
And do we maintain our still sort of a tone of silence until such time?
I would, yeah, yeah. Because in the farthest stretch, the Court of Appeals could remand. Yeah, so you got another 9 days, I would say.
Would that go right back to Luba?
Could go either way.
Go back, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, council? And with that, we do have both a work session and an urban renewal meeting tonight, and I would request a motion to adjourn us to, do we want to do work session or urban renewal first?
Work session.
Work session. A motion to adjourn us to work session.
So moved.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Let's take 5 minutes, meet you in the back.